Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Strober here, and today we are talking about the best the best guns in Apex Legends Season 8. Now, I'm gonna be doing this from D tier, C tier, B tier, A tier, S tier being the top. So, I'm just gonna get right into the video, and if you guys do like this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into the video. Alright, so at the D tier, we have P2020 Mozambique. Now, the P2020 and the Mozambique are weapons that if you have them, you want to get rid of them as soon as you find another weapon. These are weapons I personally cannot stand, can't do anything with them. So, here, take a look at this. If I put hammer point on these, and I break this guy's shield, I start shooting, sure, 35 damage. That's pretty good. But then, let's say I put hammer point on Mozambique. It's gonna do even more damage the closer you are. So, the Mozambique is a weapon that, if you don't have hammer point or anything like that, you gotta drop it. Cause look, I'm not even that far away, and this is doing absolutely no damage unless I have the hammer point on and there's no shield. Now, let's come up close with the P2020. Does a whole lot of damage, right? But that's with a no moving target. Now let's come back here. The hip fire is pretty accurate, but it's not accurate enough to where you want to, spam do that. But so that was D tier. But before we get on to C tier, let's look at the recoil patterns. If I spam R2, because I'm on PS5, that's just, it's basically where the hip fire all around is. And then this is Mozambique, just 3 bullets right around the corners. So you're basically painting the corners with the Mozambique. So yeah, that was D tier. Let's get on to C tier. Now C tier, I'm just gonna start off with the Alternator. Alternator overall, I like the weapon a lot. It is not a bad weapon, especially with, like, 19 bullets. Put it at 20, it might be a little better for sure. But if you know how to use an Alternator, this is a weapon that you want. If you get it right off the game, right off rip, I would personally use it. And if if you can't find a better weapon like an R9 or an R301, something like that, or a Mastiff, for instance, then I would definitely say an Alternator is not a horrible choice. So next we have the Havoc. Where's the Havoc at? Now the Havoc, without its turbocharger, not the greatest weapon. It's a 0 to none, really, real fast. Now if you have the turbocharger on it, it's gonna 0 to none, 0 to like 200 to 0 him even faster. But not by much. Maybe, but it's not. Probably not. And if we look at the recoil pattern on this, it's kind of like it goes up. Kind of just makes its way up. Now with the Alternator, it goes up and then it slightly goes down. So it's kind of different, but not a huge difference. So next up in the C tier, we have the L Star. Now the L Star, this is a weapon I cannot, and I quote, cannot hold. I can't deal it. I can't do it. When I first started the game, I was so bad. I thought the L Star was the best weapon in the game because it does so much damage. It's a 0 to none. That's with 1 bullet right there. 18 damage. Now if we look at the recoil pattern, that's all over the place. That's without me controlling. That's all over the place. Now, if I put my controlling skills to use, then it's about the size of the normal hitbox. Because it'll still go up and around. So if you learn how to control that, then I don't think the L-Star is a bad weapon, but it's not great. For sure. So finally, we have the RE45. These are all, my bad, C tier are all weapons that I wouldn't mind holding right off the rip, but because these are pretty decent weapons with like no mag. If I put a mag in, like a gray mag in this, that's an extra 3 bullets, which for the RE45, if I hit every shot, it's an entire, you know, dummy dead. So it's a weapon that I wouldn't mind holding right off rip, but once I find a better weapon, I'm gonna drop it. Every weapon with C tier and the D tier are weapons that if you find a better weapon, you gotta probably want to drop it. 90% of the time, you're gonna want to drop it. Now it just depends on what loot you kind of find, and yeah. So next up we have B tier. So starting off the B tier, we have the EVA 8. Now the EVA 8, pretty good weapon. As you can see, I just did 54 body shot damage. Like that was 3 shots right there, and he was dead. Now other cases, different stories, but EVA 8 is definitely a weapon that if you hold it, it's not the wrong choice. There are better weapons, but it's not the wrong choice. And EVA 8's kind of like the Mastiff shotgun. It's all over the place. It's an up and down weapon. Now, next up, well, let's look at the recoil. Basically, just right where it is. No recoil, really. Next up we have the Longbow. Where's the Longbow? Right here. The Longbow, okay weapon. Especially if you have headshots. You can shoot them pretty fast. Now that's if they're looting a body. You're only going to be doing that much damage that fast. If they're looting a body and they have the setting turned on to where they don't get kicked out if they get hit by a bullet. But if they get hit by a bullet, then they're not going to get kicked out. Now, 55 body shot damage, that's 4 shots, and you have 6 shots. So, it's not a bad weapon, but, you know, there are better options. Now, next up, we have the Masty shotgun. Now, Mastiff shotgun, for me, lately, has been pretty okay. It's definitely treated me well. It's not a horrific weapon, but it's an up and down weapon for me. See, like, as you can see, if we look at one shot, 74. If we look at another, 71. Okay, that's, I guess, like, if you're waiting to shoot, then it's gonna do more damage, and it obviously depends on the amount of pellets that hit. Right there, not very many pellets were hitting because we're hitting 48, C16, 29, 39. Now if we get up right up in his face, 96, 32, just to finish him off. Now Mastiff is kind of like the Longbow. Doesn't really have a anti-date. Doesn't really have a recoil. So that was the Mastiff. Next up, we have the the Spitfire M600 Spitfire. Spitfire, my friend thinks, is the best weapon in the game. This is just where I'd put it at, in my personal opinion. It's, for the amount of bullets it gets, it's really not a horrific weapon, and I would hold it. But I'm personally know that there are better weapons out there. So if let's say we find a purple extended, then we have 55 shots, and there's 3 opponents. Well, that's one opponent, and that was 15 bullets. Another opponent, basically another 15. Another opponent, and that's an entire mag. That's 3 opponents per team, and that's an entire mag. So if you're mid-fight and let's say you're getting shot at by the other dummy, and you think you need to reload, well, if you have a purple mag, that's 33 bullets there. So, okay, now we move on to recoil. Recoil-wise, not horrible, easy to control, but if you're hit firing, the bullets are going to be all over the place. So, that was the Spitfire. Next up, we have the triple take. Now, triple take, not a bad weapon if you're really far away. Let's say you're all the way up there. Well, a lot of times you're not going to be that far away, especially in Apex Legends. So you gotta, let's say you're all the way up there, you gotta charge it, and sometimes you don't even. It's 3 shots, so you won't even do that much damage if you don't hit all of your things. So let's come up here. As you can see, only 2 of them hit. That was 138 damage that I had with every all 3 hitting. Now you can change the setting to where there's no choke, which not a horrible idea for sure, but triple take, okay weapon. Not a huge fan, but it's an okay weapon. Now we get on to the A tier. Now, for me, I found this really surprising, and I put the Devotion here. Now hear me out. Devotion, not a bad weapon, but it's just like the L-Star. Now obviously improved. It's got the same recoil. So honestly, my thoughts on that. Devotion, pretty good weapon overall, and yeah. Now if you put the turbocharger on here, just like the Havoc, pretty okay, to be honest. It's definitely not a bad idea to hold it with a turbo. Now you gotta get really good at controlling that aim, because it's all over the place. So if you can control the recoil on the Devotion, I think you could easily deal with it. Now next up, we have the Hemlock. Hemlock for me is a weapon I'm either holding every game, depending on what weapons I'm finding. 90% of the time I'm holding a Hemlock. If you see me in a game, I'm probably going to be using a Hemlock. It's just, you know, the weapon I like the most. So, like, it's, you can also put, like, you can put it on single fire, but with no anvil, which you can't get on a Hemlock. It's not a great idea to put it on single fire unless you're actually like super far away. Now you can be all up in its face with not scoping in. You could probably be back here and hit a good amount of your shots. Now obviously you're gonna have those times where it's not gonna be 100% accurate because you still have to pull back on your trigger. So let me just stand right here. If you're spamming this, then the recoil is just going to go up, and once it goes up after a while, it kind of just stays there. So it's kind of like the Alternator, but it doesn't go down, and it's twice, like 30 times better. So next up, we have the Peacekeeper. Now you're going to be like, this is a legendary / mythic weapon. How are we going to put that there? Well, personally, I don't have the greatest past with Peacekeepers. It's a weapon that's all over the place. You can turn off charge. It's not going to be as good, obviously. But, you know, it's just it's a weapon that's like, you never know what's going to happen. It's going to have its high points, its high hits, or it's going to have its super low hits. So, that's where I put the Peacekeeper. Next up we have the Sentinel. Now, the Sentinel, I like the weapon a lot. And that's because if I put this thing on charge, so let's, you know, grab 2 shield cells real quick. And then we charge this. It's gonna do 88 body damage and 176 headshot damage. Its normal headshot damage is 140 if I don't have it amped. So without amp, it's 140, and with amp, it's 176, and without, it's 140. Body shot is 88, and normal with amp and normal is 70. So really good weapon, especially if it's charged and you have the shield cell to charge it. So just like the Longbow and every other sniper, not really a recoil, just a long charge. Next up, which is gonna be a huge disappointment to you all, but I got the Volt. I love the Volt. I don't mind carrying it at any time, but I just think it's not as good as what it used to be. And, you know, that's my personal opinion on it. It is a laser weapon, don't get me wrong, but the scope on it when you first get it's not the greatest. Obviously I don't have a legendary skin, so there's always the advantage there. But if I have like a huge mag like the legendary, I can probably knock out one opponent if you're hitting 90% of your shots, plus an extra 11 bullets, maybe 12, if you hit every shot, which 90% of the time people can't unless they are in pred lobbies or, you know, such as. So let's look at the recoil. Kind of like the Alternator again. It goes up and then it just comes back down. So that was the Volt at A tier. Next up we have the Wingman. Wingman headshot is crazy. It needs a debuff 100%. 90 damage to the head with a Wingman, little excessive, especially if you hit every headshot. So that's 3 shots in your opponent's dead if you hit every shot. If you hit body shots, 45. So it's obviously going to take the entire mag with no mag. Now you can put a quick draw on it and it just makes the pull-up speed faster handle. So it can, I think it shoots faster, and you can pull it out faster as well. Now if I put a, where's it at? Did I have it in here? Skull piercing. Now if I have the skull piercing, it's a headshot damage increase. So that's 101 damage. That's 2 bullets with skull piercing headshots. If you're hitting your headshots, that's 2 bullets, and he's dead. He's knocked. Unless he's a solo, obviously, which doesn't happen often. But that's 2 bullets. That seems a little excessive to me. That's 102 damage and 101 damage, 202 in total. You hit both headshots. Now let's say you hit a body, and then it's the same. It's just 45 again. So here, let me go into a new dummy. Alright. So let's say I hit a headshot, and then I just hit the rest body shots. You still have 1 bullet left in the mag, and that's if you are really good at hitting headshots, then honestly, good for you, because you know I'm not a huge fan of you in game, especially. But if you can hit your headshots, then I think the Wingman skull piercing would be a great weapon for you to hold, especially. So I'm not a huge, like, you guys are all wondering, what about the new gun? What about the new gun? It's an okay weapon. 600 damage charge. With no charge, if I'm shooting it right away, 42 damage. So it's pretty pointless if you're not charging it. So you have to charge the 30-30. Otherwise, it's gonna take more bullets than 2. Especially even if you hit headshots. So let's charge it and then quickly shoot. It's, you know, 2 bullets more. That's 3 shots. Now, the recoil on this thing, do not believe there is any. Yeah, there's not. Because it's tap fire. Now, that's just my opinion on 30-30. I'm not that used to it yet, so it could go down, but it could go up. So finally, for the A tier, we have the G7 Scout. Everyone in my friend group hates this weapon, and I mean hates it. But I kind of like it personally. It's got good headshot damage, and it's like if you're good at with tap fires in any game, really, G7, like especially in Apex. G7's a good weapon to hold, especially if you hit headshots and good at tap fire. If you're good at both of those, then I think, you know, could be better. My M600's bad, but G7 Scout could be a really good weapon for you to hold. And yeah, that's just my thoughts on G7. Just like 30-30 repeater tap fire, so recoil goes up a tad bit, but not mine much. So finally, we can move on to the S tier. No, the S tier. Black spike. Starting it off, we have the charge rifle. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy here, but I only say the charge rifle because one reason, and one reason only. This thing's a grinder for the 2k damage badge and the 4k damage badge. If you're looking to get 2k damage badge and the 4k damage badge, grab a charge rifle. Like, obviously, not in the game anymore that I know of. I haven't seen one at least. I think they took them out season 8, but if they ever do bring these back, definitely a weapon you need to be holding if you're looking for your 2k damage badge and your 4k damage badge. So, charge rifle definitely a great weapon, and that's the beginning of S tier. Next up, we have the Kraber. Now, I love the Kraber a lot. If you're not good with snipers, you're gonna disagree with me. And remember, guys, this is all personal opinion. So, Kraber bullet drop isn't huge. You can where the line sets. So basically, the 2. If you're as far away as I am, right around there is where you wanna shoot if you're going for a headshot. Now, let's say you're a little bit closer. I'm pretty sure you can aim right on them, and it'll hit headshot. So if let's say I'm right here per se, and he's looting a box, yeah, I just can aim right on it and he'll die. Kraber, no recoil. Okay, next up we have the Prowler. Now the Prowler has 2 settings, burst and fire, which is my favorite because, you know, it's really good. Burst is also pretty good too. I just prefer, you know, the non-burst. The non-burst, it's a really good weapon. It's basically an R9 improved, I guess. I think it does more damage. I'm not 100% sure, but recoil-wise, pretty good. So, easy to control, really, in my opinion. Next up, we have the R9. Now, just as I was saying, it's basically an improved version of the R9. Now, the R9 is... Jeez, like, I don't know how much damage it does, one shot. So if I come up here, one shot, that's 11 damage. So one shot on the Prowler did 15. So an extra 4 damage could be the difference between you winning a gunfight and you not winning a gunfight. But next up we have the recoil. Okay. So as I was saying, I had to make a shortcut there, but basically an improved version of the Prowler with no mag and less bullets to hold with no mag, especially. But R9, pretty good. Recoil, as I was saying, just goes up. After a while, just stays there. So next up, we have the R301. The R301, really, really good weapon. Absolutely love it. Right now, I think this is the best weapon in the game, hands down. Good aim can help this, you using the R301 especially. So if you're a noob and you're just getting the game, getting used to it, R301 is definitely a weapon you want to be holding. So I do believe that's every weapon on the list. Comment if I forgot a weapon, which I believe I did not. Yep, believe I got every weapon. So yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and as I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys did enjoy and this was helpful in any way. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.